hope that we get called with the ace queen or ace jack.
Is there any way you can make it louder? Speaking, I have mine all the way up too, and some people say it's a little bit low. The talking.
And this is exactly what we like to see. Look how beautiful that is. A nice little double up. A little shout out to the cactus for giving us that that beautiful double up spot. You know, calling with the king queen offsuit, which is great. Now we're back into a spot where we've got you know, the 29 big blinds, and we're back to our plan A. You know, back to plan A instead of plan B, which is always nice. So I'm going to go ahead and I went ahead and raise the volume on this mic a little bit. Sorry, you guys, for you know, if you guys are having trouble hearing the stream. I'm still a Twitch, you know, kind of a Twitch fish. Still very, very new at this, so I think that a big part of it is just, you know, directing my voice to the mic instead of, you know, off to the sky. Dutch, which tournament series during the year do you play other than WSOP? Good question, JVest3765. This weekend I'm planning on playing the Win Classic main event. Probably, I'm not sure if I'm going to play Day 1A or Day 1B of the main. I'll probably also play the you know, one of the prelims of the Win Classic. I love the Win. It's such a it feels so clean. It's just a beautiful room. It's one of my favorite rooms in Vegas. I also really like playing the Bellagio tournaments, the 5 Diamond, the 5 Star. I'll probably play some of the Aria series. You know, I think they're going to have a 500. They'll probably have that 500 WPT. I'll probably play that. The only one that I avoid like the plague is the Venetian. You know, I used to play the Venetian deep stacks. I think that they're great value, but I just don't support Sheldon Adelson and his one-man war against online poker. You could almost trace, you know, Black Friday to one man, and that is Sheldon Adelson. And I feel like every time every time a poker player steps foot into the Venetian, he's basically just shooting his other foot. So, you know, if you play poker and you love this game, I'd really urge you not to play at the Venetian, even though, you know, the fields are super sick. You know, and I'm sure that your ROI is really good for that single event. If you play at the Venetian and support the Venetian and support, you know, that agenda, then you're really hurting your overall ROI. The idea that online poker could disappear, I mean, that could happen, and, you know, Sheldon Adelson's trying to make that happen. So here we go. Instead of 2.5 times the big blind, we're going 3 times the big blind, because from the small blind, we'd rather him not call. And now we get a raise. We hate it. Absolutely hate it. You know, let's give it up. Well played, out of range. Well played. Yeah. It hurts to lose 2.5 big blinds there that we didn't have to lose. It really does. But whatever. You know, the alternative there is to call, hope to somehow just hit a flop out of the park and then check raise him. And 3-5 suited, it really isn't that bad of a hand to do that with. I mean, it's one of those hands that you're gonna kind of know where you are if you hit. I'd almost rather have 5-3 suited in that spot than an ace-3 offsuit. But it's okay just to go ahead and conserve the amount he raised, which is more than 3 big blinds. You know, we're still at that point. We still have that stack where we can play our A game. We can play our raise pre-flop, keep the pre-flop aggression, c-bet on the flop, and take it down. The minute we get down to about 14 bigs, 15 bigs, that's no longer our game plan. So when you're in a situation where, you know, to make the call, you let yourself fall into that tween stack, I think it's better just to fold. J Longo Poker. Hey Dutch, are you part of the Czech Shove Poker team? I am part of Czech Shove Poker. Signed a couple weeks ago with them. Planning on going up to Minnesota for the Czech Shove Poker Tour. That should be in April 1st to April 5th. If anybody's around the neighborhood up there in St. Paul, in Minnesota, come on up to Running Aces. It's going to be a good event. You'll have a chance to knock me out of a tournament, which should be a piece of cake now that you see how I play. Let's see.
Okay, you're out, and it's loading video. We're not in.
We're out again?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably going to be okay. It'll come back.
Everybody's out.
We're just dropping some stuff. It's okay. Just give it a little second.
Oh.
If you refresh, it's probably okay, right? Okay, so here we go. King Jack offsuit. Pretty good hand to go ahead and give the 2.5 big blind raise here. And when we got this guy coming in, we go ahead and give the 3 big blind raise to, well, we'll do the 3.5 big blind raise. So the formula here is your standard pre-flop raise, which in this spot would be 300, plus any open limps before you. We've got Melnick calling, which sucks for us. This is not a good spot for us, but he checked very quickly. It's just not a good spot. I don't think I'm out. If you reload the screen, like I just tried reloading the screen and it was fine.
Okay, I'll reload. Okay.
Wow, we got the old 410. Melnick. Wow. That goes ahead and that deserves a little fish bone next to him, because that's just never right. Here he is just flat calling a third of a stack with 410 suited. This is why we get to play poker for a living, guys. This is it. Winco, you can't really blame him for calling my raise, especially after he gets a big blind just flat calling. But I don't love his play either. You should really never open limp in that spot. If you are we still on? If you
you're on now.
Reload, having some problems, a few problems with dropped frames. I still a Twitch version, guys. I really don't know how to change that. I'll try to figure it out. So where are we? What's our game plan here? I mean, after that little move with the King Jack offsuit, we're back to our tween stack, which is it's so awkward. Sucks. I love our mod here. We got very, very quick with the with the ban with the ban hammer, which is okay. Our mod is very quick with the ban hammer, which is okay. Let's go ahead and give another Twitch another little Twitch shout. If you guys are on Twitch, go ahead and do me a favor and follow me if you can.
There's a slow roller on there. I gave him a 10-minute instead of a ban.
Yeah.
I learned it.
Come join in on the discussion and at twitch.tv. So my Twitter username is @DutchBoyd. Give me a follow, guys, and I'm gonna go ahead and tweet this Twitch TV stream. I feel like Twitch is the future of poker. There's a big circle jerk basically about everybody talking about how Twitch is so great and how Twitch is going to change poker, forever. And I'm inclined to think that it might. But it really depends on us. It depends on us, spreading the word and getting people excited about it. So what do we do here? Ace 5 offsuit. Ace 5 offsuit in the big blind. It's so close. This really is a close spot to just take a shove. There's a decent chance that we're ahead. But you know what? We're going to just go ahead and take a flop, see what happens. Nothing happens. And it's a check fold. It's funny, we actually might be ahead here with an ace high. We also might be able to get a better ace to fold, so that's what we're going to actually try to do here. We're going to try to get the ace jacks and the ace tens to fold and let our ace 5 win. This is turning our hand into a bluff. We're probably up against a better ace, and I don't think ace 9, ace 8 is going to call us, so we'll see. Pocket jacks, yes. Nice hand, sir. Was it a bad bluff? Well, it turns out it was. It turns out that was a really bad bluff. It also turns out that we would have gotten called if we shoved. ZZ Topless isn't going anywhere there. It's not that tough of a call for him when we fire out. And if we do get called, we're figuring to be up against a weak queen or a pocket pair. But I think that enough of the time we're up against like a couple of ace jacks that aren't going to call us, that making that bluff isn't so bad. It's always easy to be results oriented and say, oh, that was horrible, that was horrible. The nice thing though is now we are in that spot where we just, we don't have to think. Now we can just, shove. We're not really looking at playing a hand past the flop without having all of our chips in the middle pre-flop. The only time that's going to happen is if we're in the big blind and a couple people open limped. Then we'll go ahead and see a flop and hope to flop, just a monster. There's very little doubt that we are at the very, very bottom of the food chain in this tournament, though. I think that when last we looked, we were sitting at 43 out of 43. Let's see if we can find what we're looking at now. 40 out of 40. Starts paying at 8. So long way to go until the money. And yeah, we're just looking for the right spot. This is the right spot if everyone folds to us. This is going to be it. We're going to shove, and we're going to hope that we just take it without a flop. And that's pretty good. It's pretty good. That is the second best scenario there. The second best result is just taking it without a flop. 9-3 off. Is it a shove? No, it's not a shove. We've got 9 bigs, 9.5 big blinds. So no, we're going to go ahead and stick around. We're going to go ahead and wait. We've got enough chips here to go ahead and let the big blind and the small blind pass us, and hopefully have a shot with enough chips to have some fold equity when the antes kick in next level. Really what we're trying to do here is survive until it's 100, 200, ante 25 level, where how many chips do we really need to have at that level? 1,000's probably okay. If we have 1,000, we'll probably have enough to get, the weakest hands to fold out of the big blind. Less than that, probably not. Let's see. What is your favorite game of the mixed games? Asks WSOP 2015. I really like the Badoosie games where you've got half the pot going to a Badoosie hand, half the pot half the pot going to the best deuce to 7 hand or ace to 5 low ball hand. those are probably my favorite in the mixed game rotations. I also am a really big fan of any stud high low variant, especially like a Raz Doogie. That's a great game. In those Badesi Raz Doogie games, people don't understand the very they don't understand what they should be drawing for. When you have like a Badoosi game, and you're faced with a 5-card hand, you basically have the decision of, am I going for a strong deuce of 7 hand, or am I going for a strong Badoogie hand? And people don't understand which one they should be going for. The answer is you should be going for the Badoogie hand. But people, you see it all the time, are showing up with like an 8-5, which is a pretty good deuce of 7 hand, with only a 2-card Badoogie. They'll have 4 spades and a heart, and they're playing it like it's a strong hand, when actually, you shouldn't even be in there. You should be drawing 3, on the first draw, basically. So those are my favorite games in the rotation, just because I feel like the mistakes that people make in those games are so much bigger than the mistakes you'll see them make in No Limit Hold'em. And let's go with some other questions while we're waiting for our shove hand here. Dutch, you in Vegas? I am. I'm right here in Las Vegas playing legal online poker on WSOP.com. Let's see. And they're talking about PLO8. A lot of people look like they're talking about PLO8. I like PLO8. What do we do here? ZZ topless? Do we go ahead and shove? Do we have a chance of just taking it down? I don't think so. I think that ZZ topless is going to call us, and he's going to call us with better. So here we have a chance to just take a cheap flop and hopefully hit it hard. Is bottom pair bad kicker enough to hit it hard? Not really. Are we ahead with Jack 9? We could be. We could be ahead here. Maybe we bet, but no. We're just going to go ahead and check. We're going to just play it like a little bitch, and we're going to hope to just take it down right here. If ZZ Topless fires out a bet, then we'll call and, maybe lose 360 here, and we're still at the same spot that we were before we make the call. Now, can we overcall here? That's a tough one. This is really tough, because what could we, if Winco folds here, it's a snap call. There's no question that we're calling with the Jack 9 if Winco, just folds. But with Winco calling, it makes it a lot harder to make this call. And the fact that we'd be giving up a full 25% of our stack if we're wrong, and yet doubling up if we're right, I just feel like we're looking at a weaker ace, or we're looking at best, splitting the pot. So it's okay to fold here. Let's see what we're looking at. Throw up, vomit. That's so sick. Very frustrating. So now, anybody who's in chat, you can tell me what a bad fold I just made there. Horrible, horrible fold. Let's be results oriented and think about what could have been. God. Diamond Girl. Tagged as fish. Yes, Diamond Girl is tagged as a fish. She's tagged as a fish because of her pre-flop bet previously with those pocket queens, and her post-flop bet with those pocket queens, where she made it 1,080 into 1,080 on Ace King Jack flop. I just don't think that's ever good. I think that, if she's going to continuation bet, which is, it's fine to continuation bet. She doesn't need to, c-bet the whole pot. I think a half pot bet would be, just as good. Still feeling kind of sick. I kind of just got to take some time here to think about that. I really hate losing those kind of situations where that would have been a nice double up. Actually, we would be sitting here with 2,500. We would be sitting here with the same type of tween stack instead of the shove stack that we have right now. Let's go ahead and count here how many hands we expect to have before the blinds raise, and we're sitting here with 6 big blinds to shove with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think that, maybe just one. Maybe just one. This is it. This is our shove stack. This is our shove hand. We figure to have the best hand pre-flop. Even if one of these guys raises, we're shoving over the top of them. And really what we would like to see is a couple of open limps. We'd like to see Diamond Girl or Winco open limp so we can shove over the top of them and maybe pick up 2.5 big blinds without even a flop. But we're not going anywhere. If someone has us beat with ace king or aces, kings, or queens, we'll just have to catch up. So we just go with a little max bet, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Count it down. And did we win it? We did. Well played, us. Now we got ace jack offsuit. Pretty much the same situation. We've got an open limp by Cool Cat JC, which makes this, and another open limp by Diamond Girl, which just makes this no-brainer. We're going to go ahead and shove, hope to pick up 30% of our, 33% of our stack without so much as a flop. If we get called, we're probably looking at like a pocket sevens, pocket eights by Cool Cat. Maybe Diamond Girl calls with like a pocket sevens, pocket eights. If Wolf or MM calls, we're in trouble. If one of these guys calls, then we're probably looking at, ace king, ace queen. But so far we like it. Do we get through? Does the bet get through? It does. And all of a sudden we're looking at, increasing our stack by a good 33% without having to even see a flop, which is just perfect. Now we're looking like a favorite to make it to the 100-200 ante level, and we're still going to be in in shove mode, which kind of sucks. I hate being here, but. And yeah, Danielle Anderson's D Moon Girl. I'm gonna say that Diamond Girl is not D Moon Girl, though I haven't ever played with D Moon Girl. I see her all the time at the Bellagio, and I'm going to say that no, she would not be playing like Diamond Girl did. I don't think that D Moon Girl makes it 5.5 times the big blind with her pocket queens and then fires out 1,080 on an ace king jack flop with it. I just don't think that she would. And if she does, well, anyone who would do that is getting the bony fish unless they prove otherwise, So here we go with an ace-queen offsuit, and now we actually have 13 big blinds. Do we just max it up? We do. We just shove it in and hope to pick up the blind and a half. If we get called, we're hoping that they call with like an ace-10, ace-jack. And we could get called with like a king-queen, ace-10, ace-jack, ace-9. That is definitely in the realm of possibility. If I'm ZZ topless here with ace-jack or ace-10, I'm probably making the call. And he's thinking about it. He wouldn't be thinking with ace-king. Okay, that's just fine with us. Just fine. And here we are. We have made it to the ante round. Have you played at Sam's Town stud high-low game? Shody don't. No. Sam's Town's a little ways away from where I'm at here in Vegas, so I do every once in a while show up at the Orleans for their WSOP and for their horse tournament on Sunday, and I show up sometimes for their Rose tournament. I might be playing that Rose tournament maybe next week. I do love stud high-low though. Shody don't. Nice username. I think we got Vegas Angel in chat. Nice to see you. Shout out to her and Nate Doland. So here we go. Do we make the max raise? It's so tempting. 11 big blinds, and with a big blind sitting out. Do we make it? No, we don't. We're going to go ahead and wait. We're going to go ahead and let the big blind and the small blind pass us and wait for a better spot. Until we get down to about 6 big blinds, we're not feeling like we need to make that shove. And it looks like maybe it would have been it would not have worked out for us. We'll see here, but there's a pretty decent chance that MMO825. Wow, look at that. You got to give him credit for at least trying to make that move with the 4-6 suited. You gotta give him credit for thinking maybe I have fold equity here. But does he have fold equity? No, he doesn't have fold equity there. I just gonna shake my head at that one, and there he goes, flopping the trips. Interesting too, the raise amount by out of range with his pocket queen, so he makes it 481 under the gun +1. It's one of those weird, use my keyboard to raise bets. Wow. And here we have MMO825 going from a pretty short stack to biggest of the table after 2 hands. This is the exponential nature of poker right here is what we're seeing. Now we've got Queen 5 offsuit. If everyone were to fold it to us, we would definitely be taking a shot at knocking out of range. As it is, we've got an under the gun min raiser. We'll go ahead and let it go. See what watch as 3 5s come out. So mathematics, after being checked 2 twice, I think you have to bet that river. You hard figures to be best, and your hand figures to be best, and you're getting called by worse. 7. If you plan on calling anyway, why not bet? I think you might be. I'm not really sure which hand you're talking about, but I think you're talking about the pair of 9s hand where I end up folding to the 7. And the reason that I wouldn't bet there is to induce a bluff. You want the king high to go ahead and make the bluff at you, and that's what he ended up actually doing. So, you're probably right though, mathematics. Let's see. Yes, not a big fan of that fold.
What?
Are you guys just seeing the Jack 9 hand where I folded
No,
a pair of 9s?
I'm not seeing that.
Or was it?
I really don't know where we're at. I'm just paying
Okay, so here we go. We've got 9 big blinds. If everyone folds to us, this is a shove with Queen 9 offsuit. We hope not to get called. We hope to increase our stack by 30-something%. These kind of situations are going to come up. And actually with Queen 9, we figured to probably be best against 2 random hands. It's close, but even if we get called, we figure to be live. So wish us luck. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And hope that we don't have to run it out. Wolf is tanking. He's thinking. He's thinking. And he's folding. And we get through. We get through. Back up to 12 bigs. About 12 big blinds. That tween stack that we hate so much. Against MMO 825 and a min raiser, we can just king 10 offsuit is not good enough to make the shove with, and we're never just calling here. So this is a shove. Dutch, do you enjoy the interviews and TV spotlight that you get at the WSOP? Asks JVest3765. I'm going to have to say yes, I do. I do enjoy it. I do enjoy being acknowledged as a good player, and I still remember the very first time that someone came up and asked for an autograph at the World Series. It was I hate to fall into that whole that whole kind of egocentric kind of thing, but yeah, it felt good. It felt good for someone to actually come up to me and say, hey, would you sign this? Yeah, of course. It feels good to have the cameras on you, asking you, valuing your opinion and treating you like you know what you're talking about. So yeah. Shody, do you gamble, sports bet, or any type? I'll admit I put a couple bets down on the Seahawks this year, but nothing big. $20 just to kind of have a little bit of skin in the game. Other than that, no. You won't find me. You won't find me blowing a bunch of money at the pit. I think I really actually hate placing a bet where I know that I have a negative expectation. It's one of my least favorite things. It just kind of makes me sick to my stomach. You know, every once in a while I'll see someone at the craps table, wave me over, and maybe I'll pull out $20 and roll along with them. And every $5 come bet I make makes me feel a little bit sick. So very, very rarely, and I would not suggest anybody do it. If you're going to be living out here in Vegas as a professional poker player, making pit bets just it's a horrible idea. It's a recipe for disaster, and it's depressing seeing all the players go broke after making a lot of money playing poker and then just losing it at sports betting. Okay, she's a live cash game player now that she's out of her contract. I guess we're still talking about D Moon Girl. And yeah, I don't know if D Moon Girl plays a lot of tournaments these days. I definitely always see her at the 5-10 no limit. She's just every day just grinding at the 5-10 no limit, and hats off to her because it looks like she's doing well. Picking her spots well. And here we go. Look at this. You gotta love Winco, and this is a tough spot because we don't really want to lose him. We'll go ahead and raise 3 times. Hope not to lose him. This is a weird spot because he would really expect us to. He would expect us to raise all in pre-flop, and now we're in a spot where. We go ahead and fire out 600 and hope that he has a jack and not an ace. We're not ever folding here. If he comes over the top of us and he has some ace 3 or ace 2 bullshit, then we're there with him, and that will be our swan song. Maybe we would have been better just shoving. Because that 3 times a big blind raise, it looks so suspicious. It looks like we're doing what we're doing, which is trying to sucker him in. But yeah, whatever. Worked out pretty good for us. We are sitting here with now still the tween stack of 15 times a big blind, and we're getting 7, 8, 9 to 1. 9 to 1 for a miracle 2 pair or trips. We're gonna go ahead and take it. The miracle did not come, but it was pretty cheap to go ahead and try. 9 to 1 plus implied odds for a come on queen 9-2 flop. Let's see. Dutch Boyd, ever consider playing on an American site like ACR? They pay out quick and have nice games. My wee is green. Good to see you back in on the live stream. Shout out to you. My wee is green. Okay, what do we do here? We've got enough to just go ahead and make the shove. We hope that Cool Cat JC folds. We hope to get through the big blind and the small blind, and we have a good enough hand where we're hardly ever going to be dominated. But I think that he just folds here. I think that now we just have to catch up, which we did. Hold. And yeah, it's kind of a bad beat for you, Cool Cat JC. That is why you don't open limp. That was not a good open limp with ace queen. You gave me you did kind of sucker me in, but are you happy when you make that call and see 8-9 suited? Are you super happy to be running ace queen offsuit against 2 suited undercards that are completely live? I would say no. No, you're not happy. And you're definitely not happy when it actually hits. So this is why you don't open limp. You don't give a 9-8 suited a chance to, you don't even tempt him to come in with that shove like that. So I did. I made the shove. I got called by ace queen offsuit. I actually got net rolled because what is he taking so long to think about? But all's well that ends well, and we are back in this with with a plan A stack. We are in this with a plan A stack. We are no longer in a spot where we have to shove. Mathematics. No. I gotta say, no, I don't still have the 310 number. I'm pretty easy to get in touch with Mathematics, though. If you want, you can hit me up on, hit me up on my email, dutch@dutchboyd.com. You can also find my cell phone number right there on my website, dutchboyd.com. So yeah, I mean, if we were buddies back in the day, I'd love to catch up, especially if you're here in Vegas. So let's see, Ryan Smith. Well, when you have ace high shoving 10,000 at you, drawing dead against your set, life is great. Yes, I think they're still talking about D Moon Girl. So let's see. Yeah, my wee wee is green. Maybe I'll jump on ACR. Maybe I'll jump on Bovada. I just don't trust those sites. It's hard to trust a U.S. facing site that's still taking U.S. action after Black Friday. And we've seen that even when you have a site that you think that you can trust, like Full Tilt Poker, it turns out you can't. I would definitely, if you're going to play on those sites, don't keep any money on them. I mean, keep as little as possible on there. A lot of people that I talk to are seem to be doing pretty well on Bovada. I would say though, even if I am going to play there, I'm not going to be streaming on it, just because I just don't support illegal online poker sites now. Now that I'm in Vegas and playing on WSOP.com, these are the sites that I support. I would support the Party Poker site in New Jersey and the WSOP site here and in New Jersey. I supported Ultimate Poker when they were here. I still support the Real Gaming or whatever. I don't play there because I play on WSOP.com. But if no, I'm not going to be. You're not going to see me streaming Bovada or American Card Room, especially here in Vegas. So let's see. Matty Matt 316. Do you have season tickets to Vegas hockey yet? I can't say I do. I'm gonna admit, Matty Matt, I'm not really that big of a sports nut. I rarely watch sports. I feel like it's fun, I guess. I started watching the NFL for the first time 2 years ago when I was living up in Washington, just because I feel like it gives you something to talk about with your girlfriend's dad. So in that way, I think sports serves a pretty good purpose of giving people an excuse to come together, giving people an excuse to barbecue and build relationships. But it's hard for me to care. It's hard for me to root for one professional team over another. It's like what real difference is there between the Seahawks and the 49ers? It makes about as much sense as two high school football teams, big rivals because they're from 30 minutes away. Their lives are basically the same. They're sitting there and their fans are like, oh, let's get them. It just doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, But no, I don't have my season tickets. But I guess it would be good for Vegas if hockey does come here. Hey Dutch, do you have a favorite off-the-wall hand that always hits? Mine is 4-5 suited. I guess, yeah, Rob K, 17, I do have a favorite hand. It's 9-7 suited. I don't know why. 9-7 of spades to be, to be particular about it. I'm trying to remember what flag that is. We got Sunny Night there with this flag of the bird over the sun and the ocean. It starts with a K, I think. It's a real small island in the Pacific. I can't put my finger on it. I think there's only like 5,000 people on that island. And we got a story by Uperdue. Thanks for joining the stream, Uperdue. I played a WSOP 1K, and a guy in his 60s or 70s named Ken Adams wasn't big fan of Dutch. D Moon Girl was at the table too. Adams used to write about poker. He didn't go into details about the reason. Maybe a personal thing. Love this stream. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Uperdue. And Ken Adams, if you happen to be watching this, and care to say why you're not a big fan of Dutch, I would love to hear. To be honest, I probably wouldn't like me when I was young too. You know, that's the truth of it. Queen 6 offsuit. Do we make a move here against Mike Light? No. Squin 40 makes the 3 bet. We'll just go ahead and give it up. Dead bot coming in with a test. Let's see. Why the 5-minute delay, Eximoa? It's tough to follow the conversation with him now, and I doubt people are cheating in a micro game. I don't know. It's still money. You know, I think we're looking at $400 or $500 for first place, and we probably will change the delay in the future. Maybe, you know, notch it down to 3 minutes or 2 minutes. 2 minutes is probably the right time. I think that we have less of a time bank here on WSOP.com, and the chance of someone snipe streaming us is probably, like you say, it's probably pretty low. Even so, I don't want to get at the final table and have someone be able to just use their time bank and see that I've got absolutely nothing, which is what I usually have when I'm making my final move. So, what are we looking at now? In a minute and a half, we're going to be looking at 142.80 with 25 antes. So we're looking at just shy of 20 big blinds. We still have a game A stack, you know, a plan A stack. You know, try to remember we've got about three stack stages. The lowest stack stage, what we'll call the red zone, or the shover fold zone, is about 10 big blinds or less. Then we have what I call the tween stack, and that is just the super awkward stack of having 11 to 15 big blinds, where it doesn't feel right to min raise, and it doesn't, you know, you have too little to min raise and too much to shove. That's what I call the tween stack, and that's my least favorite stack to play. A lot of times the right move with the tween stack is just to let yourself blind down to a shove stack. But if you're able to find a super big hand like aces or kings, you know, queens, ace king, ace queen, you go ahead and, you know, usually treat it like a shove stack. Or what you're really trying to do is find a hand that figures to be ahead, and give it a, you know, shove over an open limp, or shove over someone's raised pre-flop. And then you've got what I call a plan A stack, and that's anything over 20 big blinds. You're basically going to play this the same way as if you have 100 big blinds, 20 big blinds, which is raise pre-flop, try to find spots where you can take the blinds and the antes without a flop. And if you aren't able to get through the blinds, you're hoping to get heads up with one of the blinds with the pre-flop aggression, and you take it down with a C-bet. We're in a spot where we have one of those. We get one shot at those before we're back in the tween area, which I just hate. But if we're kind of in the high range of that tween area, so maybe we have two spots where we can raise pre-flop, you know, 2.5 times the big blind, and we're kind of getting to the point where we can start lowering it a little bit lower than 2.5 times the big blind. So what do we do here? This is not a bad spot to go ahead and make it 2.5 times the big blind, which is 700. We'll go ahead and try to get through it. You know, try to get through there without seeing a flop. We probably should have waited about 2 seconds before hitting the raise button. And here we go. You know, it's not great, but we're not stopping. We're gonna go ahead and C-bet it. We're gonna hope that he was coming in with like a weak ace or a small pocket pair. If he has like pocket fives, he's folding. It's going to be hard for him to continue with a lot of hands, like, you know, a weak ace. Yeah. So here we do it again. 2 times in a row. 5, 6, 7. We're going to try to be a little bit more consistent with the amount of time we take before. Look at this, death drone. 700 raise and 700 on flop. Where does this guy get off? Well, that's a little bit of a personal question, Death Drone. So I'll just I'll just let you play your game and you can let me play mine. Pretty good flop for any hand he could be calling us with, but we're not going to stop. Usually what we're going to think is we're probably going to see him check quicker if he was going for a check raise. When he takes a while to check, usually it means he's on some sort of draw or some sort of second pair weak kicker that he doesn't really want to that he really doesn't want to take a lot of action with. So we're going to go ahead and continue here with a 1400 bet. We're going to hope that he folds, but we don't want to give a free card to a hand like a king nine, like an ace jack, or an ace nine, and yeah, worked out pretty well for us. A lot of times we're just going to shut down there. If he would have checked to us quickly, we would have c-bet anyway. But if he checked quick and we c-bet and he calls, then we got to put him on a better hand than if he thinks for a long time before checking. This is just one of those timing tells that you see online. And, tells you're going to see a lot more tells live, obviously than online. Online, you're really limited to timing tells, but they're still there. And there's so many different reasons why maybe he took 8 seconds to check before checking calling on the flop. But a lot of times they're going to do that with a draw. A lot of times they're going to do that with a hand that can't really take a lot of heat. And we don't want to give his draw a free card, because if he has a hand like ace nine, he's looking at a lot of outs. And even when we're ahead, we don't want to give him a chance to catch up. So we try to take it down on that turn bet. The other nice thing about betting on the turn there is we're able to kind of shut him down. He's probably not going to be betting on the river, and so we won't have to really make a tough decision on the river if we decide to check there and he fires out a bet. Here we just fold. So PLO Pro says, shout out to PLO Pro. Sports is basically to keep the average person occupied, when really we as humans should be more aware of each other, the earth, and more important, the universe. Okay. I'm going to say that there's nothing wrong with sports. I used to be kind of of this point of view that sports is just a huge waste of time. But I mean, everything's a huge waste of time. That's the truth of it. And you don't see me selling all my possessions and moving to Ethiopia and helping starving children. Maybe that's what we all should do. Turn off the television, stop following sports, and try to help our fellow man. That's really good in theory, but I actually think it's okay. It's okay to give people an excuse to come together. It's okay for people to be able to root together, and where sports kind of falls apart though is when people really let it affect them in a negative way and take them into to a negative place. One of the more interesting classes I had back in my college days was sports sociology, and there was a study once about suicide rates in sports towns, and they found a direct correlation between whether a home team would win or lose and the suicide rates in that area, which is just really depressing. When you think about an NFL game, like an NFL playoffs game, you actually are thinking about something that is life or death for people. There are going to be people who off themselves based on how their 49ers do. The Eagles lose, it's lights out. And that's just amazing, and really depressing. So when I was a kid, I guess this is a little bit of a sad story, so you might want to mute the stream. We had a neighbor who was a huge Chiefs fan. Huge. We also had a stray dog that we had taken in. My mom bathed, and we would feed this dog. A real cool dog. It was like a basset hound mutt. And I remember one day there was a really big Chiefs game, and our neighbor got really drunk. The Chiefs lost, and our neighbor decided to take that as an excuse to shoot the neighborhood stray dog. and it was pretty traumatic, And I kind of wonder, if the Chiefs had won that game, that day would have been a lot different. So yeah, sports. Dutch protege, don't change the delay time. Shorty don't. Every person on the final table. Rural route. What do you play? We. Okay. So we're coming back up with our game A plan. Game A stack. We're actually looking pretty decent now. We've got 8,400 chips, which is a little under 30 big blinds. Right about to go up to the 300 level. It's a good day for poker. Good day for poker. Let's take a look at our lobby. So there are 21 players left. We are 12th right here. You can see where we're at, right under Umius 01 and Squin 40. First place is going to be $355. That's a lot of pizzas. So yeah, we're liking our spot. We're thinking a pretty decent chance actually that we make the final table. You gotta love this. There's I remember when you're at the stage of the tournament, you really, anytime you're really rooting for big confrontations between other players. Anytime you have two other players get into a huge confrontation, it doesn't really matter who comes out on top because your equity rises. Think about it. If you've got two players who each have 10,000 chips at this stage of the tournament, and they both get it all in, like we just saw Squin and Sunny Night get it all in, and one of them has the ace queen and one of them has the king queen on a queen high flop. One of them gets knocked out. He loses all the equity he has in the tournament. One of them doubles up. But the interesting thing about when you double up in a tournament is your equity doesn't double. If you go from 10,000 chips to 20,000 chips, your chances of winning doesn't, go up by 2. And even if it does, your actual expected value in the tournament itself doesn't double. So what happens to that other equity that we lose? Well, what happens is it gets spread around to the other players in the tournament. It's kind of like, the one guy who exits reaches into his pocket and pulls out $500 and gives it to the guy who busts him, and pulls out another 100 and just kind of in ones and just kind of throws it around the table, and everyone just grabs it like we're in a strip club. And that's what's going on. Anytime you see these big confrontations. So this is kind of fun. We've got B. Shriver here making the min raise, and we're sitting here with actually a hand that's not so bad. We're looking at 4-1. We're really tempted to make the call, and yes, we are going to make the call, and we're going to play a little poker. Let's see what happens. 9-10-4, not so good. We go ahead and make the check. We're probably giving it up. We're not. A6 isn't great, but in this spot with this stack, anytime we get a min raise, we're calling with pretty much anything we have if we're going to get into a heads-up situation. A6 is a pretty decent hand, and it figures to be ahead of him some of the time. Really, though, we would prefer a hand where we'd kind of know where we were at if we did flop top pair. I would actually rather have a 5-6 in that spot than an A6, and I'm calling with any two cards there because we are getting 4-1 plus implied odds. We don't want people to think that our big blind is the one to attack. So there's a lot of reasons to make that call. Early on, before the antes hit, we're not making the call. But now that the antes are in there, there's really no reason to ever give up a big blind when you're in that kind of spot where it's a min raise and everyone folds to you, and it's just going to be you against one other guy. You're going to make the call no matter what. Okay, so we're on break. Let's take a look at the lobby one more time and just kind of see where we're at. So we've got Fat Tarika 1 with 35,000 chips, and Dat Dude with 22,000 chips as the chip leads. Fat Tarika is right next to us. So we've got the chip leader of the tournament to our left. Yeah, we'll show you there. Fat Tarika. And we've got another one of the big stacks here at Squin 40. He's probably in fourth. Okay, so fourth place. And then we've got B. Shriver in fifth place. Almost down to 2 tables, which is not so shabby. And let's take a look at the main lobby and see what we're going to jump into after. What we might jump into after this. So it looks like the $30 rebuy and add-on is starting in 2 minutes. If we do get knocked out of the $20 no limit pretty soon, then we're going to jump into that $30 and see how it goes. So let's go ahead and just... What do we got? We got another minute and 47 seconds. I'm going to go ahead and take a break, you guys, and take a little pee break. But before I go, I'm going to go ahead and do a little throw from my book. Poker Tilt. Go buy it on Amazon. Yep, on break. Go buy it on Amazon. And a couple other throws. Check out the Mark Hoke Show, my favorite podcast. I'll be back in a minute and a half. Okay, and we're back. So let's see, 11 seconds away from the 300 big blind level. I'm kind of curious when that ante shoots up to 50. It's got to be going pretty quick. And this is kind of interesting too. So we see B. Shriver changing his pre-flop raise amount. And we've got a little cameo by X Moi. We got B. Shriver changing his pre-flop raise amount. You'll remember that the last time he raised pre-flop was with scratch that because no, he did. I think it was 585 the last time he raised. So he's kind of alternating. It's going to be kind of interesting. We'd really like to see him actually have to turn over a hand. I think there's a pretty decent chance that he just got us off the best hand with our ace high. Because it looks like he's playing a good A-stack plan, which is, raise pre-flop. And here, look at that. He actually made it 3/4 of the pot rather than half the pot, which is what he made it when we were up against him. This is kind of interesting how we played that hand differently. We really want to be able to see his hand here so that we can kind of get some kind of betting pattern tell on him. So here we are with pocket nines, 300. That's very good. We're pretty much at the point where we can start, lowering it even more. We're going to make it, at 150, 300. We're going to make 700 our pre-flop raise amount. And next level, assuming we get there, is 200, 400 with a 50 ante. Now you'll notice that 50 ante changes things quite a bit. This is going to be kind of a tough spot. We got We got him making that check really, really quickly, which basically means we hate our hand. You know, when he makes that check so quickly, he's either completely given up on the flop, he's completely given up on it, or he has something that he kind of likes. So we would expect him to be showing a queen here. He might show a 7. Maybe we value bet. Just gonna, no, little 10. That's pretty nice hand there. Pretty nice hand. So assuming that we make it to the 200-400 round, you'll notice that the ante is going to be a different proportion to the small blind than it is right now. Right now we're playing 150-300 with a 25 ante, which is, you know, the ante is 1/6 of the small blind. The next level it's going to be 50 to 200, 1/4 the small blind. What that means is we've got to change gears. We've got to play a little bit more aggressive. In, the closer that ante is to the small blind. You'll see some real drastic ratios in some live tournaments. Sometimes you'll see like a 300-600 round with an ante of 100, or you'll see, you know, like a 600-1200 round with an ante of 200, where it's a 1-to-3 ratio, which is just amazing. And then like the very next level, it'll drop back to 1-to-4, and then it'll drop down to 1-to-5 or 1-to-6. When pros talk about changing gears, usually what they're talking about is adjusting your pre-flop raise frequency to correspond with that with that ante to small blind ratio. So here we go with our standard pre-flop raise amount. We hope to get through without a flop, but if we have to flop, if we have to hit a flop, this is a pretty good hand to hit one with. If someone shoves over the top of us, do we love it? No. We're probably going to fold if one of these guys just comes right over the top of us. Now, with a king, queen, and a king of clubs, how do we feel about this flop? Pretty good. Pretty good. And now we have this guy giving a little min raise action, this is kind of like a blocker bet, you know. But, you know, we're going to go ahead and call, take a turn. The little min bet kind of makes me feel like he's either inducing action or he's betting that small amount to prevent us from betting more. Who knows? It's very hard to get into the head of these guys. A min raise on that flop doesn't really make a lot of sense. It really doesn't. You know, maybe we get him to make a fold if we're able to, you know, if we decide to raise there. But I don't think so. I think that he just gave us a real cheap turn card. I think that he was probably ahead of us. He probably outflopped us. And really what he just did was give us a chance to catch up with our king high flush, with our king high flush draw for 300. You know, I think that if he went with what the standard right play would be, which would be a check raise, then I would have fired out, you know, 700, and he could have, you know, check raised somewhere around 2100, and we probably would have called, and then he could have blew us off of our hand on the turn. We might have just shoved if he would have check raised, because we're not that far behind any hand he could have. Even if he has a made flush, we're still looking at, you know, it's 7 outs, I think. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 7 outs. So 28%. Worst case scenario is we're looking at, you know, still winning the hand about 3-1. Anyway, who knows? Who knows what the right move is? You know, sometimes these guys just, you know, make such unorthodox plays that it's hard to get into their head. It's hard to figure out, you know, what they're hoping to accomplish with a min bet into, you know, 3 flush cards like that. And we got this guy just shoving into a 17 big blind stack. It's pretty hard to put him on anything, but our nothing is probably worse than his nothing, so we just give it up. Go ahead and take it. now we got this guy, Reddish Ape, who decides to go ahead and shove with his 5 big blind stack. I think this is usually a mistake. I think that he doesn't really have a lot of fold equity there, and he's probably he really shouldn't have let himself get as low as he has. So okay, good. We're down to 2 tables now, and we actually wake up with a big hand. Ace King of Hearts, huge hand. How big is Ace King of Hearts? Well, it's what are we at? We've got 15 and a half big blinds. We've got that weird amount where we're gonna go ahead and we're at the high end of the tween stage. You know, we could have just shoved in, but we're not going to. We're going to go ahead and let it run down a little bit. We get the quick call from this guy. 4, 5, 6, 9. Last time he made that quick check, quick call, he had a top pair. And right now our ace king is nothing. We're going to go ahead and let it go. Maybe we would have been better off just shoving, you know. But I feel like we're okay because with ace king of hearts, you know, 16 big blinds, I feel like our stack is still a little too big to play that shove game. So it's okay to lose a little bit, and now we're back down to 11 big blinds, a little under 11 big blinds, which is, you know, and now it's at the lower end of that tween stack. If we're going to play a hand, we're shoving. You know, it takes all the decisions out of it. So is this a shove? No. We can go ahead and fold 3-6 offsuit against in that spot. Dutch, have you ever played the 50K PPC? I have. I have played the 50K. It was the but when I played it, I think it was a horse. It wasn't, you know, it wasn't the 8-game mixed. And I made it to day 2, didn't cash. It was kind of a brutal feeling losing $50,000 in a tournament. SP33K says, at Dutch, very helpful to hear your analysis on each hand. I'm learning a lot about playing in my own tournaments. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, Speaks. Welcome to the feed. You know, guys, if you're enjoying it, it would be great if you'd go ahead and just, you know, click on that little follow button down here. The more follows I have, the more likely I am to, you know, keep on doing this. Follow me on Twitter, you know, at Dutch Boyd, and, you know, retweet when I make my Twitch announcements. That's the last tweet I did was announcing this Twitch stream. A lot of poker players right now are talking about how Twitch is the future of poker, and how this is what's going to get non-poker players interested in what we do, interested in our mind game. And I'm inclined to agree, but it can't help. You know, it really can't happen without the support of you guys. And you know, so far, really the only players I really see you know, streaming that I know is Jason Somerville. So what do we do? Ace 5 of hearts. We've got 8 times the big blind. This is a shove, and we're hoping that we get through without a call. If they call, we hope that they call with like a king jack offsuit. We hope that they don't call with a bigger ace. We hate it. And queens. Pretty good flop. Pretty good flop for ace 5 against queens. And we're still in it, boys. Still in it to win it. You know, so far we've gotten lucky twice in this tournament. We've had to win when we had 9-8 suited against ace queen, and we had to win there when we had ace 5 of hearts against pocket queens. Both times we were behind. But you know, we also kind of got a little unlucky to even get into the spot where they have a hand that they can call us. So, you know, you do have to get lucky to win these tournaments. You know, no matter who you are or what tournament you're playing, whether it be the 10K main event or you know, a free roll, you have to get lucky to win. You know, that's just the nature of poker, and that's why it's different than, you know, pool or darts or, you know, StarCraft 2. There is a lot of luck in this game, but you know, we don't really consider that getting too lucky. We're much better off against an ace 5 of, you know, against pocket queens in that spot, or pocket kings in that spot than we would be against like an ace king, ace queen. So if we have to choose what we see when we get called there, would like to see two middling cards, king jack offsuit, but would rather see pocket queens than a bigger ace, no doubt about it. Legit Matthew, great to see Dutch on here. No surprise to me, even with the little bit I know about him. Thanks, Legit Matthew. It's good to see you on here too. I'm really happy to see you on here too. Grinding and Ground. Yep, you can listen to Dutch's last radio interview on the Mark Hoke Show at markhokeshow.podbean.com. It was a pretty good show. I'm on the Mark Hoke Show quite a bit. I've been a big fan of his show since for years, since he was doing it out of his living room in on the East Coast, and just kind of side gigging it. Oh, this is going to be a tough spot. Look at this, boys. We've got king-queen offsuit, which is just a horrible hand, but we're just getting incredible odds to make the call. And I think this is one of those spots where we're just going to go ahead and, bite it down and make the call, hope to actually hit a monster flop. What are we looking for? Well, we're looking for two pair. We're looking for two pair, or we're looking for trip sixes. That's what we're looking for. I mean, we don't love it, but we're just getting too much to fold. We're getting, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to 1 plus implied odds to fold. So we can go ahead and, we're at a stack where we can go ahead and afford to and invest a big blind to hopefully just hit a flop that's just out of this world for us. And if we do, then we're up to 12, 13, 15,000 rather than 6,000, which is great. And if we don't, we're pretty much at the same spot that we are right now, which is upper range of the tween stack. So what do we think? Can we bluff it? Can we get one of these guys to fold a weak ace against our queen high? I say no. No, we can't. Okay, Jack 10 suited, that's a pretty decent hand. This is a weird spot. This is one of those situations where maybe we do just go ahead and shove here and try to, if everyone folds to us, maybe we do shove and try to isolate reddish shape. There's a decent enough chance that he has a small pocket pair. And if we lose here, we're down to 10 big blinds. We don't really lose much. We're able to get 850 there in the pot as dead money, and if we miss, well, we don't have to think about it now. We win. If we didn't win, it doesn't change our stack. That's the key point here is going from 14 big blinds to 10 big blinds. It's basically exactly the same situation for us. And when he makes that move, and we're able to go ahead and shove, having $1,000 dead money in there, a lot of times we're going to actually be ahead of a small pocket pair. When we're behind, we're usually going to be behind like we were there, where we're facing an ace high, not dominated. Worst case is he's got ace jack, ace 10, and we hate it. But even in those spots, calling 1,800 to, win, 3,000, it's not horrible. Anyway, it worked out for us. I'm sure that he's licking his wounds talking about his bad beat. It wasn't that bad of a beat. It was, it looks worse than it was, because when people think about their bad beats, they never really think about them when the money went in. They think about them at the end. They think about it as, I had two pair, and the guy, rivered a gut shot. That's how he's actually going to even remember it, even though we were open-ended on the turn. The way you should remember those kind of things is he got it all in. This is an interesting spot. It's very tempting to go ahead and 3-bet here, just on the strength of our hand. But we'll let it go. Wait for the next spot. The way he should be thinking about it is we got it all in, and I was a 55-45 favorite. That's about what ace queen offsuit is against jack 10 suited. So, bunny bread. I agree. I do not play poker and honestly have no idea what's going on, but I enjoy the analysis and the banter. Thank you, Bunny Bread, for joining the feed. This is poker at its finest right here. We are approaching a final table at WSOP.com. You're watching a 3-time WSOP bracelet winner play a $20 no-limit tournament, streaming live on Twitch TV. So we're happy to have you on board, and we're hoping that we're hoping that you click on that follow button and join us for another stream. I think that there's a lot to be had here at Twitch. So what are we making it? We're making it 900. This is our standard pre-flop raise. We're raising here. We actually figured to have the best hand with ace 10 off suit. And do we love it when the chip stack in the tournament calls us? Not really. But we also got to figure that he probably would have been betting more if he had us beat. So we've got... What are we doing here? I mean, do we go ahead and just make the shove? If we don't, if we check, are we going to really lay it down? I don't know what we do. I mean, we're probably going to, with 15 big blinds and a tween stack, we're probably going to hate ourselves, but we're probably going to check and fold. And it's just ugly. It's ugly. But this is how we do it. This is how we survive. We don't know where we're at. We might be ahead with our ace high. You know, we might be ahead with our draws. It's sick. That's just a horrible situation to be in. You know, there's a really decent chance that we just laid down the best hand. You'll notice there that we didn't continuation bet the same amount that we would if we were up against one of the big blinds. You know, we would be making it 900 if we had position on the small blind or the big blind. Since we're actually up against someone who has position on us, we are more. We want to bet more with our continuation bet to discourage them from continuing with the hand, because we don't want to be playing pots out of position. So we bet half the pot rather than the pre-flop amount, our standard pre-flop amount that we would continuation bet if we were up against somebody that we had position on, namely the small blind or the big blind. And that sucks. We really hate being back to this tween stack. You know, 15 big blinds with we're about to get up to we're about to be at 12 big blinds. The big blind and the small blind is going to hit us, and we're going to have 10 big blinds, which is going to be in 2 minutes we're going to have a shove stack. We don't love it. And, that was kind of disgusting, but what's the alternative there? The alternative is just to completely give up on the flop. When it comes 9 high and we have ace 10, are we really just prepared to check fold on that flop? I think that we have enough equity where we're going to win with a continuation bet enough of the time that it's okay to go ahead and see what we can do. And again,